Hi, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are taking a look at Jurassic World Survival Strike Attack Dromaeosaurus. And this is a brand new species from Mattel. Here on the back with the usual product shot featuring the figure's action feature, play app info, and images of the rest of the wave. And here we have Dromaeosaurus all unpacked. It's quite an interesting looking new species with its feathered appearance. The most interesting feature for me on this figure is its cool looking tail. But it does feel a little smaller in hand compared to other Strike Attack figures. The green tone across most of the figure looks great against the orange tone used for the tail and head feathers. And we also have a much darker green tone used for the feet. The head features some decent sculpting with a nice mixture of texturing. We have some fine scale texturing and some nice detailing around the lips. The brow ridges over the eyes have some feather texturing on them. We have some nicely textured feathers running over the head and down the neck in this orange tone. The jaw is articulated, the tongue is painted in this dark red, and the teeth have this yellowish tone to them. The figure has no neck articulation, but we have more feather texturing running down it towards the body. The lower jaw and throat has this fine smooth scale texturing. We have more feather detailing here on its back, and here's the button that activates the leg strike action. This feather texturing carries down to the tail, where the feather texturing looks and feels much sharper. The tail for me is the highlight of this figure. It is also fairly bendy, as are the feathers on each side. The tail feels fairly loose, and the detailing on the elaborate feathers is just as sharp on the underside. The legs have even more feather texturing, with more of a flowing look to them. And they then transition into some fine scale texturing here on the back of the legs. We have this dark green tone for the feet, with no contrasting detailing for the claws, and the body does have some rib detailing. The arms have more of the feather texturing to them, and yet again, no contrasting paint for the claws. I gotta say, most of the feather texturing across the figure feels fairly smooth to the touch. And the underside of the figure has a pretty smooth finish to it all the way along. I just wish that Mattel would put a little more paint detailing on these figures, especially on their claws. Checking out its action feature, you press this button here on its back and it activates the leg strike feature. Basically, this is all it does, and I feel it lets the figure down. The tail is articulated, but it feels very loose. Both the arms can move backwards and forwards, but can't pivot out to the side. And the last bit of articulation is its lower jaw, which opens like this. Here on its foot, we have Jurassic play code. Let us crack on and get it scanned in. And here he is scanned in. Here's the front of him, side, back, other side. Now here's the info. Here's how tall he is, dies meat, weighs in his 4 cats, and he was discovered in Canada and America. As he is part of the raptor family, he is alongside Velociraptor, Pyroraptor, and a Troceraptor. Here we have a Velociraptor. Here we have their head sculpts. Next up we have Pyroraptor, who also has feathers. And he also has prominent feathers on his head. And finally, we have a Troceraptor. And he also has a different style of head sculpt. This new Dromaeosaurus comes with its feather texturing across most of the figure. But some of this detailing feels worn out and overly smooth to the touch. But the detailing on the elaborate tail looks and feels sharper. This could be due to it being a separate piece and sculpted different. This could also be said about the patch of feathers on its head, which also looks sharper, as this looks to be a separate piece attached to the neck. The leg strike action isn't very good, making the legs loose, and you are unable to pose the figure in any other position. If you made it this far, thanks for watching.